And now John was bragging on you during the break, so I have to ask, what are the little things on top of the fruitcake?
Oh, no.
Years ago, I got that question about fruitcake and everything, and those are actually dyed so that the pieces that are green, because we say, I've never seen any of those. Well, those are kind of usually green pineapples that have been dyed that way to look on the fruitcake. But those are the kind of questions I get sometimes when Tim would, off the top of his head, say, what was that bridge in San Francisco? Oh, the Oakland Bay Bridge. Okay, what are those things on the fruitcake? Yeah, I mean, I never know the questions you're going to get. But on a serious note for just a minute, Gospel for Asia, great organization. We've done this before with our own radio program. We've worked with a couple of other different ministries over the years, and what a great gift that you can give, whether it's a sewing machine or a mosquito net, whether it's a goat, whatever it might be. I mean, there are just so many opportunities, and I just really encourage all of our listeners at the Christmas season, don't just think about how you're going to spend money on you and your family. Think about how you're going to spread the gospel around the world.
Good words. All
Thanks,
right.
Kerby.
Thank you, Kerby. We're going to go right back to the phones. We've got Roger, who is from Richmond, Virginia, and he's been holding for quite a while. So, Roger, welcome to Fire Away Friday.
I thank you. With news stories like factory fires where hundreds of people die, and then children slaves being found working in garment factories around the world, I was wondering if you could explain to me what we have as an option to prevent those things from returning to our country like they used to be a few decades ago, if in fact we don't have things like labor organizations maintaining a certain status.
Okay, Roger.
Well, first of all, let's recognize that sweatshops are probably not going to happen in this country for a couple of good reasons. First of all, we have, I think, educated an entire population that all people are equal, that we don't have different classes of individuals. Certainly, the labor unions in the past have set some of those standards, but I think today, if we were to just all of a sudden not have any labor unions, we still have something else, and that is the press. I mean, we can definitely be able to depend upon what is called the fourth estate. Today I've talked a lot about how the press has fallen down, for example, in the coverage of, say, Benghazi. But let's be real honest. Whenever there has been a real abuse of labor laws, when there's been a real abuse of an individual in a particular company or corporation, we've certainly had the press. And I would also add one other, and that is in the Christian realm, we have certainly so many people that have been standing up for various principles, and whether it's, as we've talked about in the past, the Christmas wars and the various liberty organizations that have stood for those, or others that have stood for the rights of Christians in the public arena. Certainly they would be very much involved in dealing with any kind of abuse that takes place in the workforce. So I do believe that we are to a point now, because we have educated an entire generation of people, that we are to treat people with care. And the kind of abuses that we see in other countries, the slave labor and the trafficking and things like that, are less likely to happen in this country, in part simply because of the press.